Hello, everyone. This is Joseph Pasek of barnburner.ca. Our twice-daily Fired Up show is available on 108 platforms, also on the OSG Sports app. Welcome to NHL Playoffs edition of the Breakaway, and it's a super breakaway with former Toronto Maple Leafs, Nathan Perrott, Mike Zigomanis, and, of course, Nabeela Damji of Barn Burner. All right, game one, Boston. Let's go to the guest, Mike Zigomanis. Perfect road playoff game, right, Mike?
I mean, that's the game they needed. If you're going to steal one, get that first one out of the way. Now they've got home ice, but more important than getting home ice right now is getting confidence, because winning that first game is huge. They need players to carry this team. Marner was the hero in game one. Who's going to follow now?
Well, and it's the first time ever in Maple Leaf history that they have a shorthanded penalty shot goal in the playoffs. Unbelievable. Nathan, what did you think of the overall? By the way, the Leafs won 4-1. They took game one. But Nathan, what did you think of overall game one victory?
Well, I thought Frederik Andersen had a solid game. You know, obviously, I had to listen to it I was traveling, so I had to listen to it on the Boston feed, which, I could tell they were giving him some credit there, so he must have probably played a lot better than they were giving him credit for. But when the goaltending solid like that, it's going to definitely help build their confidence going forward. And you need to get a guy like Matthews, and obviously Tavares scored an empty net goal, but you need that Matthews line to step up, and seeing Nylander score that goal was a big help too, the secondary scoring.
Now, Nabeela, the Maple Leafs always criticized throughout the season about their defense, but their defense in the third period, I think Boston had like 5 or 6 shots, perfect third period by the defense of the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, after the second period, shots were 29-24 for Boston, yet they still couldn't get much done. It said a lot about their defense as well, but they definitely stepped up in the third period too. I mean, if you only have 5 shots on goal, that's saying something for that defense. So I think the biggest thing going into this season, or the biggest storyline for the Leafs this season, was their defense and how a lot of people thought they weren't good enough, and how they have the offensive power, but how are they going to do on defense? And I think, they acquired Muzzin and at the trade deadline, and I think that really did something well for them. And defensively, they were really good tonight. And then obviously Anderson standing his ground in goal as well.
All right, Mike, let's get to game number 2. Your prediction for game number 2, and what do the Maple Leafs have to do? Is it status quo like they played in game 1 to take a 2-0 lead?
Well, you want to steal 1, stealing 2 would be great. Is it going to happen? You're going to see a lot different team out of Boston. I thought Boston played a really good game. They outchanced. I haven't looked at any of the stats yet or any of the Corsi's. I don't even know what the shots were period by period, but they definitely outchanced Toronto in high dangerous scoring areas. So if you look at it from that standpoint, it's going to get even tougher in game 2. But the big thing for me with Toronto is their forwards buying into a defensive system to make it difficult for Boston to play against. And that's going to be a big factor in them winning this series. And you hear Mike Babcock talk about it a lot earlier in the season when they're winning games 7-6, 6-5, 5-1. That's fantasy land. That's not what it's going to be like in the playoffs. It's going to be a tight checking game. Everything changes. You saw Boston tonight. They made it difficult every time Toronto touched the puck, made it really hard on their top-end guys. So for game 2, you're going to see a lot different look from the Bruins. For Toronto, they're going to have to do a lot of the same things, play as good as they did tonight defensively, and they're going to have to cut down on chances in the slot, high dangerous areas around Anderson, because Anderson got overworked tonight. I don't care how you look at it. He was overworked, and that was a lot for him to handle. If that continues through the next 6-7 games, they're in for it right now, and it's going to be a really tough season to win if they keep giving those chances to the Bruins.
And by the way, nobody's talking about this. Now Boston has lost 5 straight playoff games. Mike, I'm going to ask you this, and then we'll go to Nathan. Does that get into guys' head during the playoffs, losing 5 in a row, even though, it's 6 months or 8 months down the road? Because they lost 4 straight to Tampa after. Hey, Mike?
Hello?
Yes, can you hear me? So,
sorry, cut out there.
Yeah. Tampa now lost 5 in a row during the playoffs. How's the psyche? Because I know it's 6 months down the road, but they lost 4 straight to Tampa, and now they lost the first game to the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Confidence has a lot to do with it. But you see it a lot from game to game when you have a tough start or you lose to a team. It's really difficult. So when you look at these playoffs, it's all about momentum. It's the momentum shifts. Our guys playing well. You saw with the Toronto Maple Leafs, they didn't have a good March and April, and they weren't feeling great about themselves going into the playoffs, and that's a bit of an issue. So whoever's rolling, whoever feels comfortable, whoever has the confidence, that's going to be a big indicator going through these playoffs. All
right, Nabeela, I'm going to ask you, Game 2, Leafs victorious or Boston?
I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think going into this game, the biggest kind of question was the Leafs kind of had to find a way to stop that top line of Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, and David Pastrnak, and I think they did a really good job. I think the Leafs top line did a really good job as well. But you saw, it was a really fast-paced game. The Bruins, they gave up a lot of odd-man rushes on breakaways, and they struggled kind of in transition. So I think it was a really fast-paced game for them. They weren't really expecting that. But I think that if Toronto comes out with that same confidence, or they've gained that confidence from game 1 and they come out as well as they did today, they could kind of give the Bruins a run for their money. But like Mike said before, you're going to see a very, very different game from Boston coming in game 2. So it'll be really interesting to see. But again, it's just who comes out with that confidence, who comes out and plays hard. And we saw that tonight, the Bruins had a little bit of an issue in terms of, they struggled with how fast-paced this game was. So I think it'll be interesting to see game 2.
All right, Nathan, you close it off here. Game 2 and throughout the series, game 2, 3, 4, what do you expect from both teams? A little bit different from Boston. They're going to come out, I think, more physical because they didn't come out physical. That's the way to beat the Maple Leafs.
Yeah. Well, I had Bruce Cassidy my first 2 years my first 2 years pro, and he was a young coach back then. It was a long time ago, but he will definitely make some adjustments, and the Leafs will definitely see a much tougher Boston team on Saturday night. Yep. So, I think the Leafs can win, and I agree with Mike. They have to give Anderson a little bit less work, but Anderson's going to have to steal them the game. I think he's going to have to make a lot of big saves. Probably won't. Knowing the way the Leafs play defense, he's going to have to make a lot of really big saves for him to have a chance to win. But should be an exciting game, though. Should be an exciting game.
All right, Mike, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you social media-wise.
I'm on Twitter at Mike Zigomanis. You can follow me there. You can also catch me on Instagram at Michael Zigomanis. I do have a Facebook, but not really on there. I think it's under Michael Zigomanis as well, Zigomanis, and I can send me a message. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Leafs, Bruins, other playoff series, who you think are going to win, and hopefully connect with you there.
And I believe you're also on the Fan 590, correct?
Oh, yeah. I'm right now. I'm doing Fan 590 on Sportsnet. Also doing Hockey Central Sportsnet. That's also broadcasted on the NHL Network. This past year, I was assistant coach on the UFT men's hockey team, and also do a lot of events with NHL alumni, Leafs alumni. Involved with a couple different charities in the GTA 360 Kids, which is for youth homelessness, benefiting that. Going to start doing some work with the Alzheimer's Society of Toronto, and in the past and in the future here, I'm going to start doing some work, hopefully with kids up front who I've done work with in the past. When I played with the Marlies for 3 years, I used to get a box and bring different groups out to the game so they could enjoy some hockey what they otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity to come to.
Yeah, that's Mike Zigomanis. It's a pleasure to have you on. Nabeela, go ahead, tell everybody how they can get a hold of you.
So you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Nabeela Damji, and catch me on Barn Burner. I do the Blaze on Ice the all-female hockey show. I do the Blaze, I do the Breakaway, which is on right now, and I write a couple articles, Maple Leafs Game Report, so you can catch me on there.
She does everything for Barnburner. Finally, Nathan Perrott, go ahead. I know I'm scared to ask you how to get a hold of you on social media-wise because you don't remember, right?
Yeah, I think it's Perrott Nathan. That's my Instagram thing, or at Perrott Nathan. Is that it?
Yes.
And I have a Twitter account, but I don't ever use it, so I don't know what it is. I don't use the social media much, I must say. Sorry. I should learn how to use it a bit better.
All right, this has been a great edition of The Breakaway with Mike Zigomanis, Nabeela, Damji, and Nathan Perrott. We'll be back here Saturday to recap Game 2. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks a lot for having me on.